Hey guys, it's Deena. I'm here joining you tonight at flynubianqueen.com here on Facebook Live. Hopefully, this is not my normal time to come to you guys live, but I am on the East Coast right now, and so I am coming to you at an earlier time than usual. Usually, I come here to join you guys for a discussion at 7 p.m., which is Pacific time, which is about 10 p.m. East Coast time. So I'm a couple hours early tonight. It's 8 p.m. live with Deena Jacobs. And I want to discuss tonight, I want us to start off by discussing what is our greatest asset as Black women. What are our greatest assets? I want us to identify that and discuss what they are and kind of see what you guys think about that. I'm not exactly sure what our greatest assets are as Black women. So I'm really like throwing that question out there. I want us to kind of identify that and discuss it and then talk about power and how to use those assets as a form of power to accomplish the things that we want in our community, in our personal lives, our jobs, our relationships, but for the bigger picture, our community. So I see how I have about 22 people here right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you. I want to say thank you so much to the people who run flynubianqueen.com for allowing me, Deena Jacobs, to be here with you guys on Sunday evenings to discuss issues that are important to us as Black women and queens in the community. Hi, Monique Chandel says we have so many. Monique, I would love for you to list out like maybe your top 2 or 3. Hania Owen says our strength. So strength is something that we are associated with quite a bit. And sometimes that can be like a double-edged sword of sorts for us. When they say like, oh, she's such a strong Black woman. And I think we discussed this in previous videos, how our strength is one of our greatest assets. However, it has been in the past seen as something that makes us more masculine and less ladylike, less desirable in some ways. So we've kind of talked about how to shift our strength from masculine energy into a more feminine vibe. So yeah, I'm going to write that down. Thank you so much, Hania, for bringing that up. They would say our strength is one of our greatest assets, is our strength. Hey, Monique. Hey, Demetria. Still standing, Terrell. Hey, J. Monique Drayton. Our strength and our ability to love unconditionally. So, okay, unconditional love. Who do we have unconditional love for, Sonia? Unconditional love. Do we have unconditional love for our oppressor? Do we have unconditional love for our man? Do we have unconditional love for our mama, our kids, ourselves? Are we unconditionally loving ourselves as individuals, as a community? Thank you for throwing that up there. I hate being viewed as a strong Black woman, says Sonia Moore. You know what? I have struggled with that as well, Sonia. We're going to talk about that. I think we talked about that a little bit on a previous video, because being a strong woman has kind of associated us at a lot of times as like we can take a lot of stuff, we can take a lot of BS, and we can still keep going, and we're supposed to just move on and forgive. So I feel you on that when you say it can be a lot, it's something that, I don't have the best relationship with, but I had to learn how to shift my strength into more feminine outlets. I'm trying to find the right way to say that. Yes, we are strong, right? Because obviously we are American descendants of slaves. So we are descendant of some of the strongest, most strong-willed, strong physically, strong emotionally, mentally, that we were able to get through the hell of slavery, Jim Crow, and everything else that went on, the lynchings and all kinds of craziness. And here we are today, the descendants of those people. So we are the creme de la creme of that group of people, the American descendants of slaves. So obviously we are strong in a lot of ways, right? That we're still able to be here and strive for better, and in some cases thrive at certain points. So I just want to make sure we stay on the topic of the question at this point. What are our greatest assets as Black women? What is one of our greatest assets? So far we have identified strength. There was another young lady who put unconditional love. Let's see, Monique Chandel says strength, understanding, our ability to make it happen. So let me see if I can put that into a more succinct, like maybe 1 or 2 words. So you said our ability to make it happen. We're good closers. I don't know. Let me hear from the community. What do you guys think of, like, a 1 or 2 word for that? We get it done. Maybe go-getters. I don't know if that's quite it. I don't know. I want to think on that a little bit more. But Monique, that is perfect. Let's see. We have Marie Celine and Go Baling Duport. You are so gorgeous. Well, thank you, Queen. So are you. And that's a gorgeous name, Marie Celine. I love it. Let's see, what else do we have? Black women have grace. Okay, grace. That's not one you hear very often. But you know what? Black women are quite graceful. I know that a lot of times we're associated as, loud, but I remember watching a video on YouTube one time, and there was a man describing Black women, what was attractive about Black women, and he was saying that Black women were actually a lot more feminine than some other women because of the way that we exaggerate ourselves. So some of the things that we're stereotyped for as being ghetto and hood is actually quite feminine when you're like, I know you didn't. Batting your eyelashes, moving your body in a very seductive way, kind of exaggerating a little bit. Like, who do they imitate? Let's be honest. Who do the drag queens imitate? The original queens, us, right? So a lot of times, a lot of our movements and our emotions and the way that we speak and draw out certain things are imitated by those who are seeking to embody the epitome of femininity in their eyes. And a lot of times that is who? Us, right? So we do have that strength where we have that feminine grace. Hey, bonjour, Marie Celine. I know my accent is like garbage, right? Okay, I'm so glad that you guys are here for this conversation. Thank you for joining me on FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you. We're going to do a little promotion right now. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this right here. If you think there's someone who would benefit from this conversation or who should definitely chime in, we want to identify within the first 15 minutes the top 5 to 6 assets that Black women have, because then I'm going to move this conversation into something new. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead when you get a chance after this, go check out FlyNubianKingTV.com. That is the growing network for melanated men. If you want to get your business thing going, you go to FlyNubianBusiness.com. You want to get your money up and learn how to manage money. That's so important in our community today. We talk about we're going to get reparations. You're about to get a raise or something at your job. Even if you're on unemployment and getting food stamps, you still need to know how to manage those funds when they come in, because there's so many ways you can grow that money. So I'm going to tell you to go over to FlyNubianMoney.com and check that out. And let's see, if you want to get some Fly Nubian Queen gear, go to FNQ.com, right? So back to the topic. Let me see what you guys are saying. Demetria, still standing, Terrell, it needs to be for our creator. It needs to be for our creator. Okay, give me a little bit more with that, Demetria. I think, if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, please forgive me. You're live here right now with Deena Jacobs, okay, of Deena Jacobs Flaunts. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram or you want to DM me with some ideas for topics for conversation, please feel free to head on over to Instagram at Deena, D-E-E-N-A, Jacobs, J-A-C-O-B-S, Flaunts, F-L-A-U-N-T-S. And you can follow me there. You can DM me and give me some ideas for topics, comments, questions, whatever. I'd love to have you guys come over there and follow me. So, okay, hello from Texas, Marie Angela. Hello. Donna Lockett, our forgiveness towards ourselves and others, sometimes too forgiving. Forgiveness That is one that we are known for. Black women be on there forgiving the damn police and forgiving the prosecutors and forgiving the all the foolishness, and their son is passed on, and it's at the hands of somebody, and maybe it's wrongfully that this police officer or somebody has murdered or killed their son, and you'll see a black mama up there crying and forgiving and just saying, I forgive, I forgive. We can be very forgiving. So is this an asset? That's something I did put that down as number 5. So far we have strength, we have unconditional love, we have that we are go-getters, and we have graceful and forgiving. So let's see, we have strength and amazing compassion, amazing compassion. Amazing compassion. Okay, I'm gonna throw that one down there. And let's see if we can get a couple more in the next 2 minutes. We have J. Monique Drayton. I love that everyone, it took me some time to get it together, but I learned to love others for myself and not for them. That's pretty deep. I'm not even sure I completely understand what you're saying there, but I just from the bit that I'm getting from it is that you learned to love unconditionally others for yourself, just so that you can give love and not necessarily looking for love in return from them. I think that's what you're trying to say. If I'm not correct, please clarify for me, J. Monique. Demetria is still standing. Terrell says, lately I've been irritated for how we're being viewed. Okay, so we're going to get into that a little bit. But there's a specific reason why I wanted us as a community of women to identify some of our greatest assets, right? What is an asset? I always like to go to the definition. What is an asset? An asset is a useful benefit, an advantage, a resource, attraction. So if we're talking about assets in the terms of useful benefit, or an advantage that we have over others, resources that we have that others don't, and attractions that we have that others don't. Let's look at that again. Let's look at that question once again. What are the Black woman's greatest assets? Now, previously, before I define what an asset is, we said strength, unconditional love. We are great go-getters, or that's not quite the right word. I'm trying to figure out what that word is. We get things accomplished. So it's like we get things accomplished. Let's see, we get things accomplished. I almost want to say like great closers, but that I don't feel like that's the right one either. But it's like gosh, I don't know. Maybe it is go-getters. Grace, forgiveness, amazing compassion. We're very compassionate, okay? So now that I've given you guys the definition of an asset, do you want to add something else in? Because assets are useful benefits. Is strength a useful benefit? Is unconditional love a useful benefit? Does it give us an advantage? If being forgiving, does that give us an advantage, being forgiving? Is grace attractive, or is it a resource? Is compassion a useful benefit? Is unconditional love a useful benefit, being a go-getter? Okay. So let's get into this, because what I really want to talk, let me see what else you guys have to say. I'll be right back. Okay, Monique. J. Monique, being forgiving to lift our community. All right, there we go. Uplifting, yes. Black women have amazing beauty. Okay, beauty. I think I'm going to put that one next to grace, right? No, your accent is perfect, Queen. Well, thank you, Ngo Beleng Duport Abeng. Leonda Logan's continuing. So we're getting a lot of votes for strength. Randolph Boo Hannah says how. I don't think he's talking to Shirley. Nicole Petite, girl, yes, too forgiving. We are the chosen ones. We are the way makers. Resilience. We are resilient. I think I'm going to put that with strength, next to strength, because strength and resilience kind of go hand in hand. All right, so we're going to say resilience. All right, and J. Monet says, so on point. Black women grow through concrete. We have tenacity, abuse, lack of nurturing, and still manage to love gently. Wow, we are goddesses. Ambitious. Okay, the go-getters, ambitious. I like that. All right, ambitious. Okay, you guys are really chiming in with this. See, these are the type of things we need to do. We need to celebrate ourselves and identify the positive aspects, the assets that we have as a community. And then I want you guys to even start thinking about what are your individual greatest assets. Because what we're going to talk about tonight is power. Yes, yes, queens. Tonight we're going to talk about power and the power that we have. Because when you have assets in your possession, you can use them as power. You can use them to gain power. They can be a resource for power. And that's what we want to talk about is power, the types of power. There's hard power versus soft power. Yeah? Are we a powerful group of women? What do you think? I would say yes. Survival. Survival. Yes, survival. Creative. Black women are extremely creative. So that's one that I'm going to add to the list. That's going to be number 7 is creative. I was waiting for somebody to say creative. And also beauty is a big one. Okay? So beauty is a big one. So let me read a couple more of these, then we're going to get in deep and we're going to talk about power. So let me give you the definition for power real quick. Power is the ability to affect others to get what you want. Power is the ability to affect others to get what you want. Now, what is it that we want, ladies, in this community? What do we want as a community of women? Now, of course, you want to address what is it that you want as an individual. But when we're talking about reparations, when we're talking about being given what we are owed, what we are due, when we're talking about getting a raise, when we're talking about getting married, when we're talking about starting a family, we need to know what it is that we want. And then we need to understand how we are going to use our power, our assets in our arsenal to affect others to get what we want. Now, there are 2 types of power, my dear women, my queens. There's hard power, which is the ability to affect others to get what you want through force, coercion, or sanctions. So let me break this down to you. By force, what is by force? Violence, you're gonna make them do it, right? Military might, right? Threatening, you better or else, right? The second way is coercion. If you do this, I give you a kiss. If you do that, I'll give you some money. If you do that, I'll bake you a wonderful cake. That's coercion, right? So you're kind of exchanging something. You're giving them something they want in order for them to do something that you want, right? Then we have sanctions. Now, sanctions is withholding, so to speak. So you have probably heard these terms in a political sense. So I'm bringing it to us in a little bit more of a womanly way, but obviously this is still strategy. You guys know I love to impart tactical strategy. So here we are talking about what are the Black woman's greatest assets, and we identify that strength and resilience, unconditional love, ambition, grace and beauty, forgiving, compassionate, and creativity. Those are some of our greatest assets. Now, how do we use those as power, right? Those are part of our power. Our assets are part of our power. Our assets, our strength is an ability to affect others to get what we want, right? Our unconditional love is a way that we are able to affect others to get what we want. Our ambition is a way to push forward and get what we want. Our beauty and our grace is a way to attract, and that gets into soft power, to be able to get what we want. Our ability to forgive can create compassion for us in order to get what we want. And our creative abilities, our creative minds, our creative spirits, our creative souls, our ability to make something out of nothing in some situations, right, is a source of power. So let's get into, we talked about hard power, which is force, coercion, and I wanted to go a little bit more into sanctions, which is withholding. So in a political sense, sanctions are, we're refusing to do trade with this country. We're locking them out. We're going to lock arms with our allies and say, you can't come over here with us. We're going to ignore you. And we're going to ignore your needs. We're not going to trade with you. We're not going to play with you, basically. So we have been enacting sanctions, believe it or not, as Black women and women in general, when we give that cold shoulder, when we don't text back, right? When we decide that, talk to the hand, I'm not talking to you right now, I don't see you, I don't hear you, I don't acknowledge you, those are enacting sanctions. And those are ways of enacting hard power. So we are forcing people to do what we want, right? Now I'm going to talk about soft power, because I think this is a strategy that we can use in many, many areas of our lives, right? So soft power is the ability to affect others to get what you want through attraction. What do you guys think about that? Soft power is the ability to affect others to get what you want through attraction. So we can do that through cultural influence, outreach, and foreign policy. All right. So I know some of you are like, wait, what does it have to do with being a Black woman and having assets? Let's see if we can break that down. So before we get into the definitions of the soft power, I want to let that marinate with you guys a little bit. And I want to see what you come up with, if you can kind of connect the dots. And I know you can, because you guys are brilliant. Okay, intelligence is definitely one of our assets, right? It goes along with, really intelligent people are by their very nature creative. It's very difficult to be creative and be a dummy, because you have to think of new ways of doing things and shifting energy, right? And new uses for things that were previously seen as something that was useless, correct? So I think creativity and intelligence kind of go hand in hand, and those are some of our greatest assets. So let me see what you ladies have to say. Facilitators, we still there. Strength, ability. Now, let me just make a request to you guys. If you haven't already, give us the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already to flyingnubianqueen.com. My name is Deena Jacobs. I'm here every Sunday night live at 7 p.m., typically 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern time. But for the next 3 weeks, starting tonight, I'm going to be live at around 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is going to be earlier, I think 5 p.m. Pacific time, because I am on the East Coast right now. So I apologize. I had to switch up the time frames, guys. But I'm so glad for those of you who are here. I think I have about 15 people right now. And I'm going to say thank you, love, peace, and blessings to every last one of you who are here. Let me get into these comments. Black women are the strongest. No one can understand but a Black woman, but most of don't like each other. How sad is this? Not even blood sisters. Okay, Monique Styles, I think I kind of get what you're saying. What we're going to do here is we're going to focus. What we're going to do is we're going to take the negative and we're going to turn it into a positive. Okay, Sonia Moore, we want respect. Respect is earned, Sonia. So how are we as Black women going to earn our respect? Right? Emily Dawn, blackmail and manipulation are the opposite of power. Ooh. People do get things done by blackmailing and manipulating. That is a form of hard power. I would say that would probably go under coercion. Okay, that was Emily Dawn's comment. Monique Lyons, I feel like everyone has their own individual assets. Yes, they do. They have variations on some of the assets that we talked about, as well as some that were not mentioned. Aaliyah Morrison, we have more power than we think. And I feel like we solve a lot of problems in our communities if we stop supporting the wrong people. Aaliyah Morrison continues with, we have more power than we think. And I feel like we solve a lot of problems in our community if we stop. So, okay, so she basically accidentally put that in twice, including our men. Sometimes they need to learn the hard way. Only problem for you is when you enact your sanctions. There is always another country that is open to fit for business. Yes, but there's no other country like this country, my darling, right? When we say that, ladies. So it just depends, you know. Is that country up to standard? We don't know. Maybe not. Can that country still offer you everything that this particular country can offer you? Absolutely not. So it just comes down to what is it that the person wants. So let's get into soft power. I wanted to see if you guys had any comments about soft power. The only problem for you, Donna Lockett. Inventors, we are always coming up with ideas, both men and women. We are very creative. Yes, so we had touched on that earlier. So guys, let me get you engaged with soft power. What do you think about soft power? The ability to affect others to get what you want through attraction. Attraction can also be a form of seduction. How do we as women in the Black community, Black women in the community, right, use our assets as soft power, right? Soft power is a power that is seductive. Soft power is a power that attracts. Soft power is influencing someone to want what you want, but gently. Soft power can be argued to be insidious in a way, because it's so tactical. It just kind of almost sneaks up on you, right? Soft power. Women have been using soft power since the dawn of time. And so what I am challenging us to do tonight is to think of ways that we can use our greatest assets, our creativity, our resilience, our unconditional love, our ambition, our grace and beauty, our forgiveness, and our compassion as a form of soft power out here in the nation today. How can we do that, ladies? I see that the comments are very, very quiet. Okay? I know that these beautiful, intelligent, creative, ambitious, graceful, forgiving, loving, and resiliently strong women that I'm speaking to right now, I see it's about 17, 18 of you in here right now. Let's talk about how we are going to use our soft power to get what it is that we want and make the oppressors or the powers that be, or your boss or your man or your children or your family or your community, get on board with what it is that you want. How do we make using our assets as a form of soft power to attract to us what it is that we want? The first area, and I want to introduce you guys to this guy came up with this soft power idea. I thought I wrote his name down. Oh, bad Deena, bad Deena. I have to get his name because I have to give credit to this man for coining this term. It's a political term, and we definitely want to be able to look at things, because we're in a very political time. We're getting ready to go into the 2020 elections, etc. And we're thinking of ways to use our voting power, to use our voices, our creativity. We want to enact our power. We want to wield our power as a community. And I'm speaking to the queens right now. I'm glad that there are kings here, Don X, Elliot, etc., who are supporting us. But I'm speaking specifically to the queens right now, because we are in a place, in a position right now where we can use our power, but we have to be conscious of it, right? We have to be conscious of what our abilities are. So give me 1 second while I make sure. Joseph Nye, his last name is spelled N-Y-E. If you want to look up a little bit more on his theories and his philosophies around using soft power in a political arena. So what I'm talking about is us getting ourselves together and being more strategic about how we wield our power in our everyday life so that we can come together as a community and wield that power collectively. We are the most attractive and imitated women in the world. I have repeated this almost every video because I want to remind you that we are the trendsetters, ladies. We are beloved around the world. We are imitated from our skin tones to our hair textures, to our style, to the shape of our bodies, to the way that we speak, our slang. We are so imitated out here and adored around the world for who we are as women. Us here in America, Black women, American descendants of slaves, however you want to identify yourself, African Americans. We are adored and imitated. That is a form of cultural influence, which is a form of soft power. We have the greatest cultural influence in the world. I just want that to sink into you, ladies. That is a form of soft power. This man, Joseph Nye, was advising presidents and world leaders on how to use soft power. And one of the main things that he identified was cultural influence. We already have that. We already are wielding a form of soft power around the world with our cultural influence. We are the most powerful women on this earth. We just have to own it. Yes, queens? Yes, queens. Yes. Thank you for joining me, Deena Jacobs, live right here on flynubianqueen.com. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share. We are discussing what are our greatest assets as Black women, and we're defining how those assets can be used as a form of power. And we're talking about the most feminine kind of power, which is soft power, which is the ability to attract and use our attraction and the art of seduction in order to influence and get people, companies, groups, communities, governments, ultimately the world, to do what it is that we want. That's what we're discussing tonight. Strategy. Let's see. So if you if you haven't already, please check out flynubianKingTV.com, the network, our network for our growing network for melanated men. Sometimes I get tongue-tied, especially when I really get in deep with these subject matters. I'm so glad that you guys are here for joining me. If you want to get your money up, you go to flynubianmoney.com. You got a business idea, you want to go to flynubianbusiness.com. And if you would love to support us and get some gear, go to fnq.com, shop at fnq.com. And if you haven't already, please text the word Queens to 31996. That's 31996. Text the word Queens there. And then if you have not, we are also on iTunes. If you want to take the Queens on the go, you can download some of our podcasts there. flynubianqueen.com on iTunes. So glad to have you guys here. 8:36. So look, we've got about 20 more minutes. Let me see what the comments are so far. It's called, Von Buell says that's called Feminine Wows. Yes, honey. We're going to use our feminine wiles on this world, on this government. Okay? Most of the government is run by men anyway, right? That's to our advantage as women. So we're out here and we want to get what we are owed in every sense of the word, in every area of life. As the descendants of those who have built this country, this economy, this world economy that relies on our country, which we built. We will have to go out here in this world and we will have to use forms of soft power. Now, we already touched on cultural influence, right? So cultural influence goes back to the 7 areas that we as a collective of women right here tonight identified. So right here, what we're doing right now here on flynubianqueen.com is laying the foundation. I want you guys to take this information and put this out to the community and talk to other women about our soft power tactics, right? So we're talking about cultural influence. We already know we got that on lock, right? We're going back to creativity, which is a form of intelligence. You cannot be creative if you're not intelligent on some level, right? We are very graceful and beautiful. How we do our hair, all the different ways we do our hair, our makeup, the different fashion trends we come up with, how we accentuate our bodies, how we talk, how we walk, the slang that we use, imitated all over the world by other women and also some men who want to be like women. No shade. So then we're going to talk about outreach. So if we think about it, our enemy has already given us the platform by which we are able to wield our cultural influence, right? We just have to get focused on this thing, and we just have to get in control of it, because we're already out there. We're already on the world stage. They're already clocking every move that we make. We just have to use this. The guy's name is Joseph Nye, if you want to go read his book or listen to some of his videos, and you can start to weave in, like, okay, he's talking about politics, but everything in life is politics. We got office politics, we got friend and family politics, and then we got the world politics, we got the country politics, we got the state and local politics. So get your minds right, sisters. You got relationship politics, right, between you and your man. So everything is political, right? And everything is about seduction. Whether it's a business meeting, whether you're at the Walmart trying to pick up, whatever it is that you're getting for the household, and you're trying to finesse cutting in line in front of somebody. There's a million different ways that we are using and enacting soft power as a woman. And I just want us to get strategic about it. So outreach is the next one. We already got outreach on lock, right? We got social media, we have our music, we have movies, we have books, we have just our walking down the street. We have all the outreach that we do each and every day, right? So with this cultural influence, especially when we get in control of the message, sorry guys, that just freaked me out. I'm like, wait a minute, the Gestapo is busting in on this message. Anyway, so I just wanted to continue to talk about the outreach aspect of it. So we already have like the music, the movies, and all those different things that we are able to influence and put into our cultural and creative energy into, right? So we just have to keep that going with the goal in mind of getting what it is that we want. What is it that we want? We want our reparations. We want our land. We want our respect. Somebody said that earlier, right? We want to be heard. We have a lot of different areas that we want to tap into where we have goals and different agenda items, right? So the cultural influence is what is going to help people to identify and connect with you. We already have that in a big way. Now it's just about getting in control of the message through our outreach. And we're going to do that by going back to our greatest assets. We're going to use our resilience. We're going to use our unconditional love, our forgiveness, our ability to heal, our compassion, our creativity, our grace, our beauty, right? And our ambition is going to drive us with this. So the last area that Joseph Nye touches on under soft power is foreign policy. So when we talk about policy, policy is like a set of rules, guidelines, or a code, right? So that goes back to some previous videos where I talked about what type of code we're going to have, how we get on code, right? So we as a community of women, we are in the process here of developing a code of conduct. And that is also going to include our foreign relations when we're dealing with other communities, when we're dealing with each other. Maybe there are disparate communities of Black women, Black people, and we want to have a code of conduct of how we interact with each other and get each other on message and on code, how we finesse, how we attract to gain the ability to influence them to do what it is that we want, right? That's why we need to have a policy around it, some guidelines, a code of conduct. So we can even talk about that now. I want to get some input from you ladies, especially since I already went over all of that. Now that you guys know what soft power is, it's cultural influence, it's outreach, and it's policy, foreign policy in particular. Let's talk about that. What are some of the ways that you ladies can see from the 7 areas that we identified earlier? How are we already as a community enacting the use of soft power, or what ways can we kind of start to use soft power? So let me see what you guys are saying here. I stepped away for a minute. Okay. I'm glad you're back, Donna Lockett. Vaughn, Buell, we read that already. Okay, Sonia Moore, before we can use all of these valuable assets, we have to be whole within ourselves and fill our cups so much so that whatever spills over is for everyone else. You know what? I love that you're on that journey, Sonia. But we also have to start from where we are, too. So if you want to take time for yourself, because I have done that, where I took time for myself and I filled up my cup, my personal cup, and then I come back and, I'm able to give something. I commend you for doing that, and I think you should do that. But for those of us who are feel that we're at a point where we're ready to just simply move it forward, we can do that too. Some of us need to take time for ourselves, and others are like, I'm going to start where I am, and I'm going to move it forward. So let's keep doing that right now. Renee Brown, learn positive lessons day by day. Have let people talk me down to a negative level in the past. Don't let them do it. No. Exactly. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you don't have something to give and you're not valuable. We all have power that we use every single day. There's stuff that you're not even thinking about half the time. Start to pay attention and see those areas that are successful, where you are successfully enacting soft power. Not where you're like yelling or you're coercing somebody into doing something, or you're like giving folks the cold shoulder and being mean. Think about the areas where you are influencing through your culture, through your abilities to attract, where you're being open. Outreach is about opening up, right? Where you're using your codes of conduct to create guidelines around how you're going to deal with people, so that they know if they're coming to you, they have to come in the right way. That's a form of power. People have to elevate themselves to even interact with you. That's something we want to do as a community, is we want to have these code of conduct, this policy, that so that when people are even coming to Black women in the community, they already know they got to have a certain amount of respect. They have to come in a certain way. They have to be humble, however we want to do it. But that's something we want to talk about as a community, and we want to continue to set these guidelines together. So let me see what else you guys are saying. Winston Stevens, I believe this is misleading to the other females. In what way, Winston? Okay, you can't just throw that out there and then don't back it up. You got to back it up, brother. Vaughn Buell, faith plays a big part in soft power. In what way, Vaughn? I'd love to hear you expand on that a little bit more. So we have about 15 more minutes. While I wait for Winston and Vaughn to add their add a little bit more to their statements, so we can get a little bit more meat and pick that off the bone. I want to promote this channel. We are here at flynubianqueen.com. Thank you so much for joining me, Deena Jacobs, here every Sunday night. Typically, I'm here at 7 p.m. Pacific time, but for the next 3 weeks, including tonight, I'm going to be joining you guys on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is going to be 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm on the East Coast right now, so I had to shift the times. I hope you guys can still join me here. Let's see. Do we have more comments. If you haven't already, please go to flynubianmoney.com so you can learn about your finances, how to manage them, how to let your money make money, how to acquire financial assets. Also, if you have a business idea, you should check out flynubianbusiness.com, where they will help you understand how to start a business. And yeah, hold on, I'm trying to think of the other things. I don't have my paper with me tonight. If you want to buy some of the Fly Nubian gear and support us that way, you can go to fnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. And if you haven't already, please text the word Queens to 31996. That's 31996. Okay, so we have about 10 more minutes. So let's see, we have a top fan. Hey, Rochelle Derbuze. Or Derbuz? I know I'm probably butchering it. I apologize. How did you become a top fan? I'm kind of curious about that. So your comment is my strength, independence, and class. Now, how do you use your classiness, right? That can also be kind of hand in hand with grace. How do you use that to enact soft power? I'd love to hear you expand on that a little bit more. And for those other queens who are in here, or kings, we had a couple kings make some interesting comments earlier. I'd like to hear you guys expand on that a little bit more. So let's just go over this again. We have the question is, what are the Black woman's greatest assets? And you guys came up with our greatest benefits, our greatest advantages, our greatest resources and attractions are our strength and resilience, our creativity, our unconditional love, our ambition, our grace and beauty, our forgiveness, and our compassion. So I think Rochelle was saying that her greatest assets are her strength and her independence and class. Awesome. I see your comments are coming in now. Von Buell said, knowing that foes is on your side lets you move forward in confidence. Are you trying to say God is on your side? I don't know what foes is. Is that some new stuff that I'm not privy to? But I'm going to say that maybe you were trying to say God since your comment was about faith, right? So knowing that God is on your side lets you move forward with confidence. Yes, faith is huge. Whether you believe in God or not, you have to have faith that you're going to get things done, that things are going to happen, that things are going to fall into place. You have to keep somewhat of an upbeat and positive attitude, even in the face of adversity. So I would definitely agree with you on that, Vaughn. Cool J Bombagay. Hair? You just put the word hair there. Are you saying hair is one of our greatest assets? Okay. You're just going to put one word in there, brother? Come on now. We'll need a little bit more than that. Yes, what about the hair? Help us understand and see what you're seeing. Winston Stevens is expanding on his earlier comment, which is his initial comment was, I believe that is misleading to other females. He's following up with, as I mentioned, I joined the group late. You already explained what soft power is. I was just listening. Okay, sweetie, you're more than welcome to make comments. No worries. I'm glad you're here, whether you joined it late or early. Von Buell says, yes, he was talking about God. Okay, faith is huge. And I do think that Black women, Black people in general, we have had a lot of faith. But I know you guys have also heard that saying where they say faith without works is dead. So that's why I always talk about strategy. I always talk about ways to enact certain things in our life, like our codes of conduct, getting us to think about, how our branding or how we're being perceived out in the world. I did a previous video on that. And when I'm talking to you guys about that, I'm trying to, each thing I speak to you about is leading into the next thing. So when I was speaking to you guys and interacting with you guys about our image and our branding, I'm bringing it back to you now to say that cultural influence, the amount of cultural influence we have as Black women to the world is our greatest strength. It's our greatest form of soft power. So when I was talking to you a few weeks back about our branding and how we're being branded as a culture of women, we have to keep that in mind in how we conduct ourselves out in the world. And I know that there has been some, weight with that, where people have felt like, well, why do I have to represent all women in the Black community? I'm just me. I'm doing me. Look, that's just how life is, right? When you go out in the world, you're not just ever just representing you. You're representing so many things. You're a woman, you're representing women. You're a Black woman, you're representing Black women. Your last name is Jacobs, like me, you're representing the Jacobs people. If you're, whatever it is, if you're a teacher, you're representing teachers. We like to think that we can go around being individuals and I'm just doing me, but that is not human nature, for one thing, because humans they love to be collective. They love to hang out in groups. We're never just representing one individual, even when we think we are. We are a collective of people on this planet, right? So yes, as Black women, we have a certain responsibility on how we're out here in the world. We do influence culture. We do influence so many things in this world and we don't even realize it. So that's what I'm saying. Become conscious of that and start to strategize and use that to our advantage to get the things that we as a community want. We want better schools for our children, then we need to use that. If we want better communities, safer communities, we need to use that. If we want respect, we have to use our culture and our identity and our branding. We have to put our beauty and our grace forward. We have to put our compassion forward, because when we give compassion, we're going to receive compassion. And then that will cut down on some of the masculine traits that are put onto us. We don't have to receive that. We don't have to be seen as hard. We don't have to, they can try to put that onto us, but we don't have to receive it. We can stay classy, we can stay graceful, we can stay elevated in situations. We do not ever have to lower ourselves down to the base level of what the powers that be want us to be perceived as. And that is how we enact our soft power. Not by fighting back, not by being like, oh my, you don't have to do that. Sometimes you can step back and you can elevate yourself to a place where you don't have to engage on that level, because they're trying to force you with hard power. There are other ways to do it. Martin Luther King was able to do it. Not to say that, they didn't go through some hardship. Absolutely. We know that they got beat down in the streets at certain points in times. And I'm not saying you should go out in the street and get beat down now. But what I am saying is that there are moments when you can have a choice of how you want to enact your power. And I'm saying that as women, we have a greater opportunity in soft power. Outreach, being open, listening to what other people have to say. Sometimes the stuff they're saying is offensive, right? But when you think about it, it's giving you insight into who they are, and you can further develop your strategy. If we take some of the emotion out, and we allow ourselves to be open to listen to what other cultures and other people have to say, right? And we can say, okay, that's their perception of me or us or whatever. And instead of reacting to it emotionally, we allow ourselves to stay open, and we strategize, and we use that information as strategy. That's a form of power. And then also we have our policy, our foreign policy, so to speak, which is our guidelines on how we're going to interact with those outside of the community, our codes of conduct within and outside of the community. Those are our areas of soft power. Now, how do we fit these into those different areas? We only have about 5 more minutes here, so you guys got a little quiet on me. Oh, there we are. Scrolling, I can see now. We have Aaliyah Morrison. I know this may come off as weird, but we have power over who we choose to be with, and it can be an asset if we choose the right people. Girl, that is not weird. That is the realest truth there is, Aaliyah. You are just speaking that truth right now. So that is a form of policy, right? Who you choose to be with, who you choose to interact with is a form of power, because if you interact with the right people, you can move yourself forward. You can move your agenda forward. If you guys haven't already, Go on YouTube. You can listen to the 48 Laws of Power. That book is amazing. It's amazing. It will have you thinking about all kinds of scenarios in totally different ways. It's by Robert Greene. It's free online, YouTube. You can listen to it while you're at work. Okay? That's what I used to do. Aaliyah Morrison, I know this may come off. Wait, I don't know why your comment came in there like 3 times. It's the same comment. But we did get that one. Sonia Moore, use the art of war and be quiet, listen, observe, and strategize. Okay, Sonia, yes, girl, we right here. We right here on that one. That could be a form of policy as well, right? As women, sometimes we want to talk, be loud. We always want to be, you know how we are. But try this as soon as you get an opportunity when you're in a group of people and everybody's talking. Just try to refrain from interjecting in any way and just listen and see what you can observe about those interactions. I'm telling you, this is going to give you so much insight that you're going to love it and you're going to start to listen more than you speak. Because as you sit back in a group of people and they're talking and they're interacting, you're going to start to identify power dynamics. You're going to start to identify where people's insecurities are, where people's strengths are. You're going to start to learn a lot just by observing body language while people are interacting. Just do that. Just people watch, and see what you get from that. That's going to help you with your policy, and that's going to help you with your outreach. So it is time for me to go now, guys. I thank you so much for joining me here, Deena Jacobs, on FlyNubianQueen.com. I love you guys so much. I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope you guys join me next week. If you have any further comments or anything you want to say to me or some topic ideas, you can follow me on Instagram at Deena Jacobs Flauntz. That's DENA. DENAJACOBS FLAUNTS, Deena Jacobs Flauntz on Instagram. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this platform and this video with those who you think might enjoy it. Fly Nubian King TV, if you haven't gone over to that yet, please check that out when I finish this video here. That's the growing network for melanated men. Fly Nubian Money, to get your money up. Fly Nubian Business, if you have a business idea. And of course, support us and get some Fly Nubian Queen gear at shopfnq.com. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope you're enjoying your summer, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.